I carried my sister's baby for 9 months, sick every single morning. But when the invitations for the baby shower went out, my name wasn't on the list. She told me I wouldn't fit the aesthetic of her miracle journey. I realized then I wasn't her sister anymore. I was just the rented incubator. This isn't a story about a birth plan gone wrong. It's about giving someone the greatest gift imaginable and then giving them a devastating lesson in gratitude. When my sister Maya asked me, she was crying on my kitchen floor, broken by 5 years of negative tests. I didn't hesitate. I said yes because I loved her, because her pain was my pain. The pregnancy was brutal from the start. Morning sickness that lasted all day, exhaustion that settled into my bones. But I didn't mind. It was a labor of love. At least, it was supposed to be. The shift happened slowly. It started with the micromanaging. Maya and her husband David suddenly had opinions on everything I ate, how much I slept, the cleaning products I used. They weren't checking on me, they were checking on the asset. I found out about it on Instagram, a curated photo of a pastel-perfect brunch captioned, "Celebrating Our Miracle." I hadn't received an invite. When I called Maya, her voice was airy, detached. "Oh, Chloe, we just wanted to keep it intimate, focused on the future parents. Besides, you look so uncomfortable lately. It wouldn't fit the vibe." I went anyway. I stood in the back of the country club hall, my ankles swollen, wearing a dress that could barely contain the life I was creating for her. I watched Maya stand at the front, glowing in white silk, holding court. She gave a speech about her long, arduous journey to motherhood. She thanked God, her husband, her acupuncturist. She never mentioned my name. Not once. I was standing 20 feet away, carrying her future in my body, and I didn't exist. I realized then that in her story, I wasn't the hero helping her. I was a messy detail she wanted to edit out. Once I saw it at the shower, I saw it everywhere. Our relationship had dissolved into a transaction wrapped in pastel tissue paper. The texts stopped being, "How are you feeling?" and became, "Did you take the DHA supplement at 8 a.m. sharp?" When they decorated the nursery, I wasn't invited to help. "We want it to be a surprise for when the baby comes home," David told me, blocking the doorway like a security guard. They didn't want an aunt for this child. They wanted a seamless handover. They had agreed to pay me a standard compensation fee for the surrogacy, money I planned to put toward a down payment on a small house. But as my due date approached, they started treating that money not as gratitude, but as hush money, a fee for my eventual disappearance. I sat in my small apartment, feeling the baby kick, realizing I was utterly alone. They had taken my body, my time, and my dignity, and they expected me to say thank you for the privilege. The hardest part wasn't the physical toll. It was realizing that my immense love had been met with immense selfishness. The birth was 24 hours of agony. Maya was in the room, but she was focused on the monitors, not me. When my niece finally arrived, red-faced and screaming, the doctor handed her directly to Maya. The room erupted in joyful tears for the new family. I lay on the bed, forgotten, bleeding and empty. An hour later, Maya was sitting in the rocking chair holding the baby. David was beaming. They looked perfect. I slowly sat up. I reached into my hospital bag and pulled out a thick cream envelope. I walked over to Maya. She looked up, her eyes guarding the baby, perhaps expecting me to ask to hold her, or maybe expecting a demand for the final payment. "Congratulations, Maya," I said. My voice was rough but steady. "She's beautiful." I handed her the envelope. "What's this?" she asked, wary. "It's my gift to you. And to her." She opened it. Inside were legal documents. "I didn't want your compensation money, Maya. I never did this for the money." I watched her eyes scan the papers. It was the charter for a new nonprofit organization. I used the entire $75,000 you paid me to establish the Maya and David Foundation for Infertility Support. It will provide grants for women who can't afford IVF or surrogacy. Maya looked up at me pale. David stopped smiling. "I put it in your names," I said, "so that every time you look at your daughter, you'll remember that generosity isn't about what you get to keep. It's about what you give away." The silence in the hospital room was heavier than anything that had come before. I hadn't screamed. I hadn't fought. I had just used their own money to build a monument to the selflessness they lacked. I left the hospital alone that night. My body felt strange and light. Maya has texted me since. Long paragraphs trying to explain, to backtrack. I haven't replied. I don't hate her. I just don't know her anymore. The sister I did this for existed in my memory. The woman in that hospital room was a stranger who needed a lesson she couldn't buy. I sat on my couch in the quiet of my apartment. I didn't have the down payment for a house anymore, but I had something else. I had the knowledge that I am capable of a love so big that it can create life, and a self-respect so strong that it can walk away from those who don't deserve it. My body will heal. The stretch marks will fade. I gave her the miracle she wanted, and in return, I gave myself my freedom. We are both motherless now, in different ways, and I think I'm the one who sleeps better.